Hi guys, it's Mo, and this is Mo Reads It, and today we are talking about The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Ali O. So this was my recent, I believe March, Fairy Loot book. I do have the exclusive cover and all the beautiful details that Fairy Loot puts into every one of their books of the month. So before I got into this book, I already knew I wanted to read it before it even came in my Fairy Loot box. I was like, I have to read this book. I watched Lucier's video on her book talk about this, and I kind of just skimmed it, and I knew I really liked the vibe of this book. So I got it, so I was so happy when I actually ended up getting it as a Fairy Loot book. That way I didn't have to go out and buy it, and I would have this beautiful exclusive cover. But I do have to say, I do like the original cover a lot. It's definitely very me. I remember Ali saying that it was a fantasy romance, and I was like, say no more, I really want to read it, and that it was a retelling. This is a Korean mythology retelling, and it's actually very good. I have been really into retellings lately. I read This Woven Kingdom, which was a Persian mythology retelling. I read Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which was a Chinese mythology retelling, and I read a few other retellings here and there, but I honestly I don't remember all of them. So The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea is about Minna. She is a average girl living in this kind of dystopian world. So horrible storms are plaguing her village. Animals are being swept away in the current of the storm. People are dying in the storms, and pretty much like disasters coming down on them from these natural disasters. Not to mention that there's also war going on in her country, and it's just kind of like a mess. The center of their town and their people, the god that they pray to is the sea god, and they feel like that they've been cursed by the sea god. So once a year, every year, they throw a maiden into the ocean to appease the sea god to see if she can become his bride and potentially end these like horrible natural disasters that's plaguing their world. So Minna's brother is really into this girl in town, and she is who the town has pretty much gotten together and was like, yeah, we're gonna sacrifice her. And the day that she's being sacrificed, her brother, because he's so in love, goes on the boat with the girl to be sacrificed, and Minna follows after them because she cannot bear for something bad to happen to her brother, and inevitably throws herself into the ocean and becomes the sea god's bride. Minna ends up in the spirit realm, and she's pretty much like disorientated. She arrives, she has this red ribbon attached to her hand, and it pretty much leads her to the prince, who is fast asleep, like knocked out cold, and the red ribbon is the ribbon of faith that this is to be her betrothed. So the red ribbon pretty much led her to the prince. I mean, the king, the sea god. And pretty much he's in this deep enchanted sleep, and her job now is to awake him, pretty much get him back to doing his job as a sea god, as a protector of her people. To help her do this, the protector of the sea god in the spirit realm eventually befriends her. Before that, they were kind of like enemies, but then she realizes that he's the good guy and that they can team up and potentially wake up the sea god together. But unfortunately, a human cannot spend too long in the spirit realm before they die. So she has about a month to do all of this, wake the sea god up, make him fall in love with her, and go on and like save her people. Good. So overall, I felt like I gave the book a 3.9, so pretty much 4 stars, but I feel like I wanted more from it. I really like the characters, but I feel like I didn't get enough of all of them. I really like the story, but I feel like I didn't get enough of all of the story. And I feel like the book was too short. I wish it was longer. I wish there was more happening. I wish that I got to spend more time with these people that I really like and enjoy. Because I like all of them, but I feel like I didn't get to go deep in depth with all of them. So let's start off with the world. The world building in this is beautiful. I felt like I was in a Pixar movie, which is one of my favorite places to be when I'm reading books. I want it to feel like I'm living in a Pixar movie because I just feel like they do it the best, and I liked it. It was beautiful. She is truly in this spirit realm of like beautiful colors and decadent design, and it's whimsical and magical, and it kind of feels like, well, it totally feels like a whole new land, which I really love. So Mina befriends Shin, the one who's the protector of the sea god, and inevitably Shin has stolen her soul because he's like, oh, let me steal your soul so I can protect the sea god, because through you the sea god can be killed because you guys are now bound by this like red ribbon. And in her attempt to get her soul back, she accidentally releases it and binds herself to Shin. And no one can see this binding because they are the true love ribbon binding. So the red ribbon that tied her to sea god, everyone could see, and anyone could hurt the sea god to get to her. But now the red ribbon has bound her to Shin, and she's pretty much like, why am I bound to you? How did I accidentally get bound to you? It's interestingly funny, honestly, to me. But over time, she actually starts to fall in love with Shin, and I feel like that's another thing I needed more of. I needed more of their love story. It felt very insta-love-like, and I wanted deeper chemistry building between the two. I feel like the book was too short. I feel like I didn't get enough of like each scene, just needed more. Since this is, I believe, a standalone, there is no sequel, but I feel like for this book I would want there to be a sequel, even though it tied it up perfectly in the story. The story came full circle. All our questions were pretty much answered, and I have to say though, it was predictable for me. I did predict some of the, what people would consider a plot twist, and I did expect a lot that happened. A lot of what unfolded wasn't too hard for me to guess. And the ones that were hard to guess and I didn't get to guess it until I never got around to guessing it, they weren't as of a shock factor or like a plot twister that I needed it to be like, oh wow, that was really good. So I have mixed emotions about this book. I really like it, but I feel like I need more from it. And in the beginning, I was so hooked and enthralled, and I still was throughout the book, but like once it became pretty predictable, I was just like, eh. But I feel like it started off really strong. I'm really into retellings, and I didn't know this retelling before I got into this book, so I enjoyed that the book was able to go over some of the story of the original mythology, but also that it made it its own. Like, I wasn't, even if I had read the mythology, I wouldn't have been able to predict this book. I was able to predict this book because of how I felt certain scenes were just going to play out. I definitely feel like if you like ocean vibes, like, I want to say like The Little Mermaid, like that colorful underwater atmospheric life, you would like this, because I feel like it was very beautiful to read. So already at the beginning of the book, these green tabs were mostly me predicting what was going to happen. So already on page 36, I already predicted the major plot twist. Like, not even, what, 3 or 4 chapters in, I kind of already knew what was going to happen. 4 chapters in, I already knew what was going to happen. I did predict that it might have become a love triangle at, like, at the beginning, but then I immediately dismissed that once I realized there was no love triangle. Nothing else is going to happen. So I did thoroughly enjoy the experience of reading this book, but the predictability of it did leave me not interested in giving it a higher rating. Also, I feel like I just need it to be longer and do more inside the story. Like, spend more time with the characters, spend more time building up certain scenes, spend more time with everything. And honestly, when I first wanted to read this book, I honestly thought it was thicker than this. I thought it was double the size that this one actually is, but in reality, it's only this big. When I saw it on the internet, I could have sworn it was bigger. I don't know why I thought that. As far as writing goes, I do like some of the prose in this book, but it was only like maybe 4 sentences that really caught at my heart. Other than that, the writing is pretty simple, easy for anyone to pick up and read. Natural. I'm not sure if this is Ellie O's debut novel, but if it is, I think this was a very good starting point, and I'm interested in more of her work. While I do really like and enjoy this cover, I will kind of try to get the original cover because I feel like it entails the vibes of the book a bit more. But I do like the colorscape of this one. It's beautiful, and I feel like it brings in that whimsical element that was already there to begin with. Namji is one of the guards that work for Shin, and he is one of my favorite characters out of the entire book. I wish I had more scenes with him, and I wish we got a deeper relationship between him and our main character as friends, because I feel like everything was just kind of skirted over. We didn't get to dive deeply into the majority of the things that are happening in the book. Also, the chapters in this book are very, very short. It will surprise me how quickly I was able to read a chapter. In the first night alone, I think I read like 15 or 17 chapters, and then the next day I read all the way through. Overall, I am leaning more to the 3.9 than the 4. I will read more books by this author, but right now I'm just not compelled to reread this book or keep it in my collection. So I probably inevitably will unhaul this at the end of the year, but I really enjoyed the adventure I went on, and I look forward to more from this author. I think that the idea for this book was really good, and I wanted a deeper execution. Overall, let me know, have you guys read this book, and what did you think about it? I'm very torn between dropping it into a lower 3 or rising it to just be a 4.0 flat. So that is my book talk on The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Ali L. I always do these book talks on all the books that come in my book boxes. I'm a bit behind on editing them all, but I do read and review every single one of them. I hope you guys enjoyed this book talk, and be sure to subscribe, and remember, I'm here every Friday. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.